Hello Flosstube, my name is Laura and I'd like to welcome you to Stitching by the Shore, my channel all about cross stitch with a little bit of paper crafting thrown in too. If you're new, I'd like to say welcome. Thank you so much for pressing play. I hope you like what you see. Maybe hit like and subscribe, and I would love to know what you are stitching and what you like to stitch. I love that there's so many different things out there for all of us to stitch, so I just love hearing about what you like. And if you're a returning stitching friend, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you taking the time to come and hang out with me and chat cross stitch. So thank you very much. I'm so happy that you are here. Before I get going with my stitching for the week, I did have one tiny little finish, nothing major, but I had went through my drawer and I've pulled out some things that I would like to get finished, and I only did one this week, but that's okay. Each one is an extra finish, right? And they never have to be finished. Remember, they can stay in that drawer, and every once in a while you pull them out and you just look at them and you think about your stitching them, and then you put them right back, and that's fine too. But I had finished, fully finished one of this. It's the set of 3. I've only stitched 2. So this is the one I just did. And yes, looking at it, it is completely uneven and that's fine. I had put it on there and then I think I had already started to do some of the stuff around the back, and I said, you know what? I'm not going to stress over it. It's fine. When I look at it from a distance, it's not going to be the only thing I'm looking at, so I'm not going to worry about it. This was part of a set of 3 summer, I don't know if she called them signs or what it was, from Tiny Modernist. So there was this one. I stitched and have had this one fully finished for a while. And then there was a third. And I wasn't sure if I was going to stitch all 3. And at this point, I don't think so. I think I'll have to look at it again. I think there was 3. You know, there might have been 4. I'll have to pull the book out and look and see. And I think maybe I was thinking I would do 3 and put them on a sign or something or other. And I might have repeated one of these borders. Do you see how they're 2 different borders? That might have been what I've chosen to do. Right now, I've just kept them as leaners. As you can see, I don't even have felt on the back of them. When I say a leaner, it's something that I can hang and I can lean against. I thought about putting the 2 of them on some sort of sign, but what I like to do sometimes with my leaners is I like to nestle them in with something. So say this was a framed piece, just pretend, and then I like to kind of actually put it along the sides and layer some things depending on where the stitching is and if there's a blank spot. So I think I might keep them that way. And I thought this was interesting. This one was fully finished a few years ago, and you can tell that I was not as good and tight. You can see how those lift up. It's the same exact fabric that I've stitched, but do you see how that one's a lot neater? So with time, if you are feeling a little bit sad about maybe something you've finished, first off, if you fully finished it, then I give you all sorts of kudos and credit. If it wasn't 100% perfect, that's okay. But you can see as you get going and do things, you do change, and you will learn tricks that make things easier for you. And really, trying to fully finish and fold over things like a straight Ada is a challenge, and kudos to you, I feel like, because this is much thicker than, say, a piece of linen, and I'm really proud of how thin those look. And I could put some felt back there, but I probably won't even bother because they're just going to be leaning up against things, and that saves the materials for something else that might need something on the back. So that was my full finish. I do have a few more summer smalls that I'm looking at. They're over at my table. I might fully finish, or at this point, I may not. Things like those smalls that I hang up, I do hang them up off of my shelving units. And so it would be fun to have them, but if they're not there till next year, it's no biggie. But we'll keep those up there just for a little bit of summer decoration. All right, so let's get going on my stitching. So the very first piece that I worked on is, or it's not, the first one I'm showing you. I don't have them in a particular order of when I stitched them, although today I did group them according to different activities like I Spy or the Abandoned Sale and all of that. So when I get to those, I'll tell you. This one is Wings of Change from Silver Creek Samplers. And I got to what I'm thrilled point. I finally got the words done, and it had been a while. So I was definitely excited to get them done. At this point, I have all of the words done. I did also some of the butterfly. So the outline of the butterfly is half done. I have to do the mirror image. And then I have a whole bunch down here. This will be the biggest chunk. What I would like to do, next time I pick it up, I'll do one of two things. Oh, there's only 2 places to go, so that's not a surprise, right? I might do all of the black outline or work on black outline. This is a variegated floss that I chose, not what's called for. And that's the most fun part. So I want to wait beyond backstitch to be the last thing I do the X's with, is that. Or I might come down here. I remember somebody stitching this, I don't remember who said that this leaf is intense. There is a lot of stitching to that. And I can believe it, because just these leaves were enough. So I can imagine what that is right there. This is 18 count Bell Bottom Blues by hand dyed by Rolanda. I do have one little mistake. I think one of my T's is either a little puffier or not as puffy. I don't remember. So I did have to slightly change how my letters are sitting. So yours may look slightly different than mine if you've stitched this one. I am using all the called for colors except for my choice for the butterfly. So I'm really pleased. My goal was to definitely get the words done. I felt like that was a good kind of goal area. And then I had some extra time, so I did throw in some more of the butterfly. And this one will come out for challenges. We did use it as a stitch along. So technically, I suppose it could be part of the abandoned Sal. Whoops, I had re-zippered that. Didn't mean to do that. I always leave the zippers open and then re-zip it after I'm done. I want to say it was Butterfly Wings Sal was our hashtag, and some people did fabulous, really cool things with colors and changed up how they did things. So I would say hashtags probably don't work anymore, but if you can see some, that might be really fun. I know like the flower got changed and things like that. So some options out there for you. But that one wasn't officially part of my abandoned Sal. When I get to those, I'll tell you kind of where some of I narrowed it down a little bit because I have like 30 pieces that are parts of Sal's. So I don't think I'd get to all of them in the course of the month. This next piece that I did pull out was Autumn Provides. I did my very first part of the stitching. Mo was going to, one night he wanted to go over to the pickleball courts and just practice his serve. And I said, you know what? I need some fresh air. I'm going to come with you. I'm just going to sit, open up the windows in the car, put my book, listen to my book, and you can go practice your serve. And so I needed something simple. And this one I'm doing in one color if you're new. It's nice and easy. It's monochromatic. It's floche, so it means it's only one strand that I'm using. And I just figured it was great. And then I didn't get a ton of stitching on it then, because he can only practice for so long, right? I mean, it's just him. He hits the whole bag of balls, then he has to go pick them up, then he hits them again, and so on and so forth. So it's probably like half an hour or so. So I pulled it out again, and I was really pleased. I got some good progress. This is 18 count Unnamed. It is from hand dyed by Rolanda. I wanted a pastel version of like an orangey fall color. So I was really pleased when I had this one. I am using Floche, like I said. If you've never used Floche before, let me see if I can find it. It is a DMC product. It is one-stranded, so it's a little bit thicker. And it on 18 count, which is what I'm using, I find I like the one strand. Some people prefer that on 16. But we are all different with our one strand, two strand, 1632, 1836 anyway, right? So it is number 319, and it comes in a circled kind of skein, and then this is when it's cut up. Now all I do is I just pull a strand, and then I go and I stitch that full strand. So I completely finished this week over here. I had this and a little bit up here and just one segment of the pumpkin. So I did all of that extra. I finished the border down all the way here, and then I had the intersection of this piece, but all of those little things all had to be done. Oh, and I started the top part of the bottom border. So that's what mine looks like. If you'd like to see what this one looks as charted with the charted colors, I would say I noticed that Tammy from SoFly's Unique Boutique, I want to say, I'll link her down below. She had posted on my Facebook page a picture of hers. She's so close. I think she only has like one little bit of the edge border done. So all of the colors I think at this point are in, and it looks beautiful. So if you would like to do as called for with the called for colors, go check out Tammy and you can see what she's done. I'm doing these as a set, all the same floss, just different color fabrics. So mine, I had a reason for changing it up. But if you would like to see the original, I can't tell you how beautiful it is. It really, you need to see for yourself. So that's where mine is. This is a great one for things like hanging out in the car, stitching. Well, Mo was practicing his pickleball serve. We'll talk about pickleball a little bit later because I have a start. All right. This next one here, I pulled out for two things. One for the I Spy. If you're new, I Spy is a game that I do each month. I create 10 prompts and then anybody can participate if you want. If you're not on Facebook, if you go to my, I think it's community tab on my Flosstube channel, and you will see every month I put the prompts there. You can choose one prompt to do, 10 prompts to do. You choose your goals. You just connect it somehow to a project or projects or however you want to play. I mean, you could say, I'm going to pick one out of the 10 prompts and I'm going to try to do stuff for that in multiple projects this month. Or you can play around so much with it. It really is there if you want to. I like it because it's just fun. I like doing the games, which is why I am a fan of it. But I pulled out Cinderella. Now, this was being pulled out as well for the Focus event, which is part of the Whip Warriors Facebook group. They are a challenge/game group that is closed right now, but we're getting to the end of August. It's going to open in 3 months time. Usually by mid to late November it opens, and you have about 6 weeks to try it and see if you like it. You can even start the beginning of the year and say, life just happened and I'm going to have to leave. And they're like, no problem. You can try again next year. Participation is required though. So that's why I say that. Like, you might, if you don't get a certain amount of participation threads, you do usually get taken out of the group. But you're always welcome to come back and join at any given time. Now, that was the reason I wanted to do this one. I've been rotating between Black Roses and this piece right here. I should have put it on the board. I was thinking, no, it's too thin. Oh, well. That's it in total. And yes, I know my margins are really, really, really thin. I didn't work on that other part, so I'm just going to do this to hold it. It's fine. I'm not really worried about the tight margin. I did count down to make sure that I'm not going to actually go into this. It's all serged, so I don't have to worry about fraying or anything. This is an unknown fabric. It had no tag next to it, which I'm so sad because I would in a heartbeat buy some more of this fabric if I knew what it was. It's such a pretty blue, and anything night or just really, this would be great. Maybe Halloween, now that I'm doing that other blue Halloween. Just so much fun, but it is the way it is. I don't know what it is. So I'm using DMC. Let me see if I can see through the 3325. And I'm doing a monochromatic. And I finished, I think, Dream and the I for is. I did the word your, and then I did some border stuff there. And I believe I also did border over here. Now, usually with the Focus event, which is over a weekend, it starts on a Thursday. I generally don't get to it till a Friday. And I usually do it officially. I take the before and after pictures. It ends on a Monday. And then, you get credit for it. this weekend, if you remember, we had a full house of people, so I knew I wouldn't get a lot of stitching in. I did pull out, and this is because I did stitching on Monday after everybody was, you know, well, most people were gone, house-wise. So half of my 500 stitching, I think I did get on Monday. But I was able to at least get 500. There is an event called the Strident Sal event, which is at the end of each month from Whip Warriors. And you basically just stitch on something that's a stitch along. And I originally started this in January for Allison, Cross Stitch the Globes. I think it's hashtag Cinderella birthday sale, if I remember correctly. So I can pull this out again in the last week of the month and try to get maybe a little bit more, because I try to get a minimum of 1,000 on that weekend. And if I'm really good, 1,500, just because it's really the only time it comes out right now. So we also, this is from Lina Ova, the Cinderella, and we do have a hashtag Lina Ova Sal. I have 2 Lina Ovas going right now, this one and Mary Poppins. And yes, I saw the new Mary Poppins that did come out. And plus I have a few others, and I've seen other people stitching other ones as well. So I'm sure I'll be doing Lina Ova for a long time. But yeah, the other thing, let me look at my notes here. Did I use this for, no, I used it for I Spy, which was the name of a book. So I knew I was pulling it out for focus. So I said, let's see if I can do something with I Spy, because I try to do like 200 a prompt minimum. And well, of course, Cinderella is the name of a book. If you get those little, what are the little, they have the little puppy thing on them. Little golden books, I think that's what it is. There is various Cinderella versions. So I figured, there you go. I've got the name of the book and I have my focus event. Alrighty, another I Spy piece that I did, the only other one, is I worked on, this is the Empyrean Sal from Forbidden Fiber Co. So Empyrean is a kind of fantasy world built by Rebecca Yarros in the Fourth Wing books. They're actually called the Empyrean books, which has led to speculation that, because that's the dragon world, that there'd be more dragons coming up in the later books. We'll see. But this was a mystery stitch along. This is what it looks like completely. I think I am going to change it. I'm not in any point where I'm going to change anything yet, but I believe when I get a few more things finished, I am going to change up some of the parts of this piece. I think it's lovely, but I'm not 100% sure if that's how I want my final one to look like. And here we are. This one could go on a board too. Let me see if I have the board right behind me here. Okay, this is a good test of how flexible my shoulders are. Can I reach behind me? It's about the only flexible part of my body now. We won't talk about my hip joints. Alrighty, let me put this on here. This is 18 count Feathertail, which was a hand dyed from Forbidden Fiber Co. And I did get the whole thing. So the mystery stitch, so it would be the pattern, I got the fabric, and I got the floss from them. So this was a full, I don't do that very often, but I love Fourth Wing. If you are new, it's a favorite series of mine. And so I figured, this is the back of Sticky Board. I do have a bigger one that's matte board, but this is a good size for smaller things. So that's what it looks like there. Using the called for hand dyed from Forbidden Fiber Co. I finished all of the words. I had a decent amount here plus some here, and then I had a decent amount of that border line to do. So I got all of that done. Now, along with I Spy, what was the prompt I used? Oh, something that has multiple layers. I know a lot of people were using mystery stitch-alongs or stitch-alongs that were released in layers, in parts, because that's kind of your layering on each part. There are also, if you look at it, kind of layers in the pattern itself. August has a s'mores month, and I thought, well, this is kind of cute too, because this could be the center of the s'more, and then you've got the top and the bottom. So I will finish this Basgiath wore college, what's the last word? Oh, right. There's a line in a writer's quadrant, and then I have to repeat the dragon and the lightning bolts on that side. So that would be Tarn and Segale. And then from there, I'm going to kind of sit down, think about what I'd like to do and how I want to do it, and see if there was any other quotes in the book that I want to highlight, if maybe they missed something. Now that we have 3 books of quotes out, we'll see. So that's where that ended up showing. Now, I did use this one for Kenny Stitches has the Abandoned Sal. Now, I'm kind of jumping around as I usually want to do. And so part of what, let me write down Kenny's name so you can watch him. Sometimes what I do is kind of adapt some of these challenges, and I think that's fine. I think he'd be okay with that. With this one, originally I listed all of my Sals, and I thought of them more as maybe like forgotten. They're not really abandoned. If I've abandoned a project, it's gone. It's out of the list. It's kind of in a different area altogether. And so this one was this year, but the Sal's over. It's all been complete, and I'm way behind. So I figured that's a good one for the event. And then what I've tried to do otherwise is I'm trying to pull some that are older stitch-alongs. So technically, the Wings of Change could have been part of that list, because that was not this year, I believe. I think it was last year. I'd have to look for sure, but I think it was. I don't think I've gotten that much done this year. But also then what I'm doing is I'm looking for some of my older ones that the original person who started it may have finished, or we're all just doing it for a while and it's a year, 2, 3 years old. I figured that might be fun to pull them out. So the Empyrean I pulled out as part of that kind of Sal challenge because it is done and I'm behind. The next 2 were started last year, and so they need to they need some work. This next one though, I'm going to show you a couple different things. This next one here is The Shores of Hawkron Hollow, and it is from Carriage House Samplings. Now, Megan, Georgia Girl Stitching, had started this one, and she had reimagined it to be a little bit smaller. And I loved what she had done, and I asked her, is it okay if I do that as well? And she said, of course. So this is the picture she had sent me. And I was all gung-ho, I was going to do that. Then as this project kind of lingered, I said, you know what, I'm going to take out the center because I can stitch that. I mean, any of these can be stitched on their own, right? And I'm just going to do the 4 pieces, maybe figure out if this is how I want them, and so on and so forth. Jumping forward to last February, at the end of February, we had a leap year, right? So Nancy, the Disorderly Stitcher, let me write down Nancy. She had started I meant to look. I don't remember the hashtag, but she's stitching this, and she's got it broken up and how she's going to stitch it over the course of the next 4 years and have it done by next leap day. And it's all really broken up. It's like 1 block every 3 months, and except for the middle, which is 6 months, and it totally makes sense. This is still how far I am, and I'm reimagining this yet again. I'm thinking now that I am going to do single blocks. And I think part of the reason, this is, as you can see, very similar to the original. And I pulled this out, gosh, I think I saw this in 2020, and I had gotten some fabric not long afterwards, and then this sat for 4 years or whatever. And since then, obviously, I've changed ideas and types of fabric, and I don't always do called for. I very rarely do called for, even the color. And I just had it stuck in my head. I wanted to stitch on this. And this is fabulous fabric. It is 18 count Pale Ale from Dying for Cross Stitch. However, I'm just not loving this on this. Megan's doing it on, I believe, a really pretty blue. And of course, I can always do things on blue. You know me. I don't know what I would do, but I'm not sure what I would have chosen if you said, Laura, let's start this tomorrow, what fabric I would choose if I let go of using this color in my head. I think it looks fun. I spent a ton of time finishing, over 500 stitches to finish the swatter. I have a little bit more of like the wave white cap kind of thing to do here. Other than that, I just have to pick a color for the lips of the sun, and then I have a bunch of seagulls, and this black will be done. So I think what I might do is I might choose like maybe one more block. I might do like 4 blocks in the end. Choose another block, actually, this way you can see it too. This doesn't show the pattern. To stitch on the pale ale. And then maybe choose another couple blocks and stitch them on another color. And then I believe this, if I do the 4 blocks, I can still put it in a 12 by 12 scrapbook page, and I can have them in some sort of design or something. Because if I do just this color in one block and then do other blocks in multiple colors, unless they're in a ton of different colors, it wouldn't quite be as cohesive as I'd want. So so what I think I'm doing is I'm going to finish this block and call this one a whip on its own, a work in progress, start and a finish. And then each block, if I continue, there's always the if, right? I will, and I might even do like maybe just a lighter kind of beachy-ish sort of color. I don't know. So that would play off this kind of color scheme. If I do more, then I have those options. I know that Amy from Renewing Stitches, we were talking about, so Amy, I don't remember now because my brain is mush. Amy was stitching just this one right here, and she was going to do it as a pillow. And I think we talked about how cool would it be if you took out this section and you did, you know, those kind of sailor knot, the knot in the middle, and then, you know, had, so it'd almost be like a braided sort of, I want to say, it's not ribbon, but you know what I'm talking about, a cord maybe, and have that over that with the ship in the bottle. Oh, that would be so cool. So I was thinking, is there some way I could stitch some of this and then with stickers or something, do some sort of cording there instead, or ribbon or something. That was a thought too. But I remember thinking that's really cool what Amy was doing. And she was looking at these as more of individual pieces. And I believe it was pillows, right, Amy, that you were going to do them as. So lots of different options, lots of different ways to tackle that. Do the whole piece like Nancy, portion like Megan, or maybe mishmash like me. I think that's where I'm heading, to be honest with you. But I wasn't liking pulling it out. And I thought, okay, this abandoned Sal was a good reason to pull it out. And maybe I'll try to pull it out again before the end of the month, although there's other ones I want to do. But I kind of feel better about it now that I've made a decision, and I've made it okay to just break it down even more and then to pick and choose how I wanted to stitch it. So sometimes that's okay. Just let go of, I needed to let go of what I was clinging to, how I had to stitch it, even though I was changing it anyway. And I felt a lot better after I did that. Okay, so one more piece that I did pull out for the abandoned Sal this week, it's just fun saying that, the Sal, is Alice in Wonderland Tree. I'm talking about Allison again from Cross Stitch the Globe. Clearly Allison was a big inspiration to me this year and last. The hashtag was Tiny Alice Sal, and she had started this, gosh, I can't remember if there was a theme or a reason, but I just jumped on because I had done Wizard of Oz. I had this one I wanted to do. I currently also have Snow White that I started this year, but that is sooner, so I'm not pulling that for this Sal. But this is where I am. This is where I got to. This is 18 count. I'll just put this behind so it's a little bit easier to hold it. 18 count Opal Blue Ice from To Die For Fabrics. And yay! We are going to talk about To Die For Fabrics today in shopping. So this piece, you know, as usual, will take forever in my mind. I mean, Allison just ran through it. She was amazing. I think she started from the bottom and worked her way up. I know I did this element. We've got the top of the rabbit is blowing their little trumpet or bugle or whatever you want to call it. I think we got the leaf in. We got a bunch of different things. right now I'm thinking I'm just going to take a color and pick and choose where things go. So like you have hats and feet from these two little guys, and that's it. And I think the Mad Hatter is right here, and I think Alice is next to him. Yep. So you might see like hair and parts of pieces, and I think I'm going to tackle it that way. I do also want to bring down this and bring that down. So I am on this row, sort of. I mean, I still have stuff to do up here. And all the back stitch will be at the end. But once this row is done, then we have the bottom underneath, and then that final little banner. So it's coming along. It will take at least another couple years. I don't foresee it getting done any faster than that, but that's all right. It would just go in the scrapbook. Eventually, what I'd like to do, I have this, so I have Wizard of Oz done. This one in progress, Snow White in progress, and then I'd really like to do the poetry if I could. And then we'll see if she comes out with any others, and have them just as kind of a small little collection in the scrapbook. I think that would be fun. Wizard of Oz and this one are done on the same fabric, and then Snow White. I didn't have any more of this fabric, so Snow White's on a different color. And Peggy Still Stitching had done the Poe on this great kind of, it was like this mottled pinky. If I ever get back to and do that one, I'm going to go back to Peggy and look at hers, because I absolutely loved how she did it. And I want to choose something just like her. Alrighty, next. So last week I finished my Stitch Ferovia Christmas Town, yay, for Whip Into Shape. And I decided, well, Andrew's still running, so I need to still stitch, right? And one of you had suggested being very conscientious and pulling out the July's Delphinium, because I've been struggling with that one, and do that for Whip Into Shape. And I thought about it for about 3 minutes, and then I said, oh, sometimes Andrew runs 20 miles, that's 200 stitches, and that one is very, it's not confetti in your traditional full coverage confetti, but it's changing colors like crazy. And I just figured I wouldn't enjoy it. And I'd already just done Christmas Town, which is color after color after color. And I said, you know what? I want to do something that's chunks of color. And then this is also my final piece, my oldest piece, my oldest project. So I did end up, well, I gave consideration. Thank you for your suggestion. I did actually end up doing Samhaim in Salem instead. This one, like I said, is now my oldest piece. So it was probably started, I think it was a May start in 2021. Yes. So May of 2026, it will hit its 5-year mark. And it'd be nice to get a good chunk of the way done. So this is it as a whole, and then I'll fold it. This is 18 count Old Library Marble from Dovestitch. And I worked exclusively on this house right here. You can see it is a printed fabric. That's the white on behind. That's what Dovestitch, it's fabric flare basically. And what did I do here? I had already done all of this outline, and I decided, you know what? I'm gonna leave that for a moment. Let's do some more. I wanted to pull in this color. Now mine will look slightly different than the model here. This is from Hemlock and Rye Stitchery, which is Julie, Kansas City girl in a Colorado world. And she gives a variegated floss option. And when I was doing these, I wasn't doing variegated floss at all, even just my own choices, because I'm sure I could find a house that would be kind of that kind of blue, New England kind of blue house color. But she also did, she would give blends of 2 DMC colors, which is what these two other houses are. They're blended of 2 colors. The roofs are a blend of 2 colors. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to do that. And so obviously my blue will be a titch lighter than what the picture is, but I'm okay with that. I caught myself up all the way to Monday. So today's Friday. So I have, after Andrew runs today, 4 days, but that's usually where I am. I'll have to, the last week as we lead up to the race itself, the marathon, then I'll stitch maybe every day. And this one, since it is more blocks of color, it will be much easier to do 30 stitches. I would say he ran 3 miles, and that's 30 stitches. I'd probably do the strand or whatever. I wouldn't stop at right 30 and then just, you know, write them off. But I did get the window in, and then all of this blue is new. I figure if I can do some of those things, that will lead to more fill-in. Down here, obviously we have the door here with kind of that, let me show you. She has 3 different types of doors in these, which is really kind of cool. So that one's a little bit more elaborate. And then we have some pumpkins and some flowers at the bottom. I'm not going to do words at all. I am going to just do the fence as a whole all the way across. I like that fence. Oop, you don't need to see that one. That was the last one I finished. So this is where we are. Still lots to do. These houses are definitely more elaborate than you think. The hashtag is #whip into shape. And Andrew's running the very, very, very end of August. So I still have probably a few weeks worth. I imagine at least another 500 stitches. I think in these last few weeks, he'd be running at least 50 miles. And then, of course, the marathon itself would be 262 or 26.2, right? So that would also give me a bunch. All right, so let's talk about my new start. I've had this now not that long. Somebody had showed this to me. I think you had posted this on my Facebook page, and it was just released by Annabella's. It's charted by Annabella's, and it's called Time for Pickleball. So that's what it looks like. And everybody knows, if you've been with me long enough, you know that my husband is obsessed with pickleball. That is his hobby. I have told him he needs to do more than that and figure out more than that before he retires. Because he's not allowed just to play pickleball 8 hours a day, because God forbid he were to hurt himself, then what would he do with himself? But he is a huge fan of it. And you actually get that cute little ornament too. Sorry, can't pickleball by. I might stitch that one, actually, and put it on the Christmas tree. But this is the one I'm working on. Or just started. I haven't gotten very far. It's kind of that Subway art sort of look. So it should go fairly quickly. It's not a huge piece. I can't remember the exact measurements, but it's not humongous. You'll see. I'm almost at the full width of it, so I'll show it to you in a minute. And you can see here, there's about 5 different greens and then some black. Now, the reason why I tell you that is because I chose this yellow purposely. If you've never seen pickleball before, the balls are basically, they look like wiffle balls. And the ones that Mo has gotten, I don't know the brands and things, but he's bought in several packages of them so he can do the things like practice his serves, are yellow. So I said, well, then I'm going to try to do some sort of yellow fabric to pull in the yellow, which is what I did. And that's where we are. I just have the 2 L's, and that's the width. So you can see it's not going to be hugely wide. And then it's, you know, probably, I don't know, length here. I'm not really sure. But I got a nice good start. That was probably 300 stitches. And when I do starts, if I'm going to show them to you, I do like to get a minimum of 200, but even a little bit more than that as I can. And I'm chuckling because that's a nod to Sandy. Stitching with Sandy. Hi, Sandy. Sandy has Zooms twice a month on Sundays. I think it's the 2nd and 4th. She just had one, but we had all the family over, so I didn't go this week. And we've talked about this in her Zooms before, so that's what makes me chuckle. So when you see a start, I do try my very best to get a minimum of 200 so you can kind of see something. But that's where it is. And I will keep going on this one. I was originally thinking, oh, maybe my anniversary is in September, so maybe get it done for then. But then there's that other piece, which would be kind of ornament. So then I was like, well, maybe I just try to get both of them done for Christmas, which gives me a little bit more time, but I still want to get it done. I do want to show off. I did buy this, and Mo did see this bag, and I think I showed him the pattern, but he doesn't know I'm stitching it now. Look at this pickleball project bag. This is from Lala P Creations. That's, I want to say, is that Corey Creates? on Flosstube. It might be. Her bags, I've got a couple of her bags, and they're fantastic. She does both full fabric as well as vinyl front. I think I have both types. And I saw this, I said, I have to get this. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be doing a ton of these types of patterns, but anything that makes me think of Mo, or I'm stitching for Mo, or anything like that, or just something fun that's outdoorsy, I can stick in this bag. So I had to pick that up. That was a purely kind of like, oh, I saw that and I just had to get it kind of thing. All right, this one here, August Poppy. This is going much better than July went. This is Cottage Garden Samplings, and I do anticipate an August finish on this. I worked basically pretty exclusively on flowers. At this point, I have to fill in this flower. I have to fill in the inside of this. Oh, I think I did do some green because I want, yes, I did, because none of this green. I wanted, because I wanted to do all the flowers, I needed to create that, which meant I had to do some more green. But I think it's fill in that. Yeah, because that flower is done. And then I just have a bunch of green leaves and stems to do. If you bring it up close, you can see that is stitched. I know from the back it looks like I've forgotten to do border over there, but it is indeed there. And in person, you can see it better. This is 18 count Amber Waves, and that is from Atomic Ranch. And I don't know if I had said the previous piece was 18 count Lemon from Bestitchme. I had that color stuck in my head. I knew I wanted to do that. And when I pulled it out, the flosses went really well with it. So I was excited. But back to Amber Waves. This is a nice color. This is one of the few Atomic Ranch pieces of fabric I have. I have a couple. And I like it. But it's a nice background neutral for like summery kind of things. For me, it kind of gives that beachy vibe, which is why I pulled that one out. So not a lot left to do on that one. And I'm excited because then we have September, October, and then the infamous July. So, alrighty. Next, I started this, was it last week or the week before? And sometimes when I do the starts, I do try to do it 2 weeks in a row just to get a little bit more done. And that was my purpose on this one. I wanted to get a few more of the colors in, get a little farther. This is Octopus Bubble from Love Poppet. And it's super cute. I saw that octopus and I said, oh, I want to stitch that. He looks so cute. Now, there will be a bunch of backstitch if you look and see. See all those kind of bubbly looking things? It's funny because I'm just noticing it because I have it in Pattern Keeper, and my version, I don't know if I actually updated because I think there's a version now where it shows backstitch, which quite frankly, I'm happy when it does it. I can just go back and do the backstitch with the pattern. But, so I forgot that was there. We'll have to see what he looks like without all of that. Some of it, no, you know what? It's X's. I take that back. I should be okay. I just haven't gotten to those parts of him yet. Oh, okay. Yeah, because there's openings that I haven't stitched yet. Okay, we're good. This is 18 count Dive In from Bestitchme. So this is quite a departure if you see from the original, but I just wanted some sort of under the sea sort of look. And I remembered this bright blue and I thought, oh, those colors will look nice. So that's what I did. I did some more of the octopus. I brought down some more of the kind of greenery. Oh, let me have this the right way so I can see what I'm doing. On this side, I wanted to do this flower on this side to get some more colors in. So at this point, I still have just some more, I think it's pinks, kind of pinks, coralies, reds for the starfish. And then I think I'll have just about all the colors in. There might be one more color for the octopus, but now I have what I think is a nice kind of start, and I'm happy. I don't have the percentages. It is in Pattern Keeper. It went in Pattern Keeper seamlessly, very easily, no problem there. And trying to see. No, my bag does not have octopus on it. I'm really pleased with that. It's my very first Love Poppet. The ease of doing the whole thing means it won't be my last. Okay, next. I have 2 more to do for you. I don't remember why I pulled this out. It's getting close to a finish, so now I know why I'll continue to. It's Grateful Quaker, so I'd like to get this one finished by Thanksgiving for this year. From the Heart Needleart by Wendy. And let me just check my notes on this because I'm not sure. I change very often many of Wendy's colors, and yes, I did. I changed almost all of her colors, just slightly different. Sometimes it's because she uses, in this case, Weeks Dye Works. She does give a DMC alternative, but I sometimes like to kind of shake that up a little bit, and I did. So mine will look slightly different. Oops, there we go. Some of the colors I chose, I wasn't loving the DMC alternative compared to the original. So, and I did choose my own, I don't know if it's still here, variegated for the squirrel. Cocoa Bean from Classic Colorworks is what I ended up using. And I like him. I think he came out good. So I finished the word thankful. So that's right. Yep. Oh yeah, I had over here. I had this part to do. So I finished all that. I did quite a bit of the greenery here. So all of this greenery is in. I did have a mistake counting somewhere, and I'm just fudging it at this point. Let me see. Do I have? That's that over there. So I have all of the greenery in. So if you can see it right here, I have all of that in. I have to go back and fill in all of the flowers. I have to fill in some more of the yellow flowers here. Now in this one, you can see she's got just various letters. I'm assuming those are initials that mean something. It doesn't, I didn't read the notes. Do you read the notes of a pattern when you start? I guess I'm one of those people, you know, that I don't always read directions when I start things. And that is certainly the case with patterns. And I'm sorry to any designer who's taken the time to give me notes. I just kind of start and wing it. However, I don't think I'm going to do those. I don't mind alphabets and letters in my stitching, but I'm not just going to willy-nilly throw them in there and everything and all the time and everything. I even thought, I know you're going to look at me and just shake your head at me. I was thinking of even just keeping thankful and not putting in grateful and blessed. But I think this looks a little incomplete, which is where grateful goes. I mean, and there is a space. I wonder if I can kind of, it's grateful and then there's supposed to be a letter. I wonder if I can bring it down a little bit more. Maybe I'll see if I can play along with that. And then blessed is supposed to be over here. So we'll see. I'm not sure how I want to do that. If it was just the flowers, I'd be done next session, but then I do have the words. So it does have a couple sessions, especially if I have to kind of play around and rechart slightly where I want these things. Oh, I'm off my game today. This is 18 count Poetic Ponyboy from Those Missing Stitches. I'm gonna link Lynn. She just put out her, I don't know if you call it July recap, because I don't know if she talked about any of her August stitching, but Lynn just put out a video this week and it was fantastic. Some of her, all of her stitching is beautiful, but a lot of her choices were just phenomenal. So I'll link her. But this is Poetic Ponyboy, and I know it's another kind of neutrally sort of look, but I thought the vibe with the colors and the whole Thanksgiving grateful vibe, it worked well. So I went with it. I do like to have some neutrals in my stash so that I can go, because there's sometimes I feel drawn to that neutral, and so I want to have it when I feel that draw. But I know most of the time it's definitely more colors and vibrant. All right, last piece, Real Comfort, and this is from Modern Folk Embroidery. I am not doing this entire piece, so I'm ending it at the kind of town. I may do a double row of border, like maybe one line and do another straight line, so it kind of mimics like what this border is, because I'm not doing any of that border. I was originally going to end it here and then have this border go all the way, but I don't think I want to, so I'm not even sure I'm going to put up top the dates in Jane Austen. I purposely did not put those maybe I just put Jane Austen. I don't know. I'm kind of winging it at the moment, and that's okay. This is 18 count. I think it's another, nope, it's not. It's from Fabrics by Stephanie. 18 count Bliss by Fabrics by Stephanie. And I am using, I want to say it's, oh, it's boysenberry. I was going to say pomegranate from Pirate and Robin. So let me just show you. That's the, and it's boysenberry. I have a couple of skeins of that because I didn't know how much to get. But that's where I am. I actually stitched this in the wild. Isn't that when you stitch, go somewhere and stitch? I went to, and I wanted to throw this out there. If anybody is either visiting Delaware, Southern Delaware, or is in the area and wants to come in Rehoboth Beach, they have Tanger outlets and a bunch of different outlets because we're a beach town, right? So we have that kind of give you stuff to do, you know, when you're on vacation, especially if it's raining. Don't go to the outlets on a really rainy day. Or, oh, I was there and it was school shopping. Luckily, I found a good parking spot because it was crazy. But in the Tanger outlets, there is a place called Federal Beverage, and it is a non-alcoholic spirits sort of shop. So everything she sells is non-alcoholic. Some of it is like bubbly sort of tea-ish things. She does have an entire line of kombucha that they themselves create. They have a factory or something. Then she has things like wines and mixed drinks. And I want to even say she has like THC drinks, but I'm certainly not going to drink. I'm not sure I'd want to drink them. I don't know. But I certainly wouldn't even if I was stitching. But anyway, so she has all this stuff she has, but she also has an kind of a loungy, like all sorts of tables, chairs, different eclectic couches and stuff. And she has board games strewn everywhere. It makes me think of Michael and Melanie from Out West Stitches. So she wants to create a place where people just come and sit and vibe, you know? And so I went and I asked her, I said, could I come at any time by myself or with people and sit and stitch? And she was like, absolutely, I'd love it. And so I went and I got myself, I think it was like this bubbly white tea blueberry. It was wonderful. And it came in a can and it was room temperature. She said, let me get you a glass and some ice and all of that stuff. And then I just sat and I stitched. And so if anybody would like to ever meet me down there, as long as it's not a Friday morning when I'm filming, or as long as I'm available, I would love to come. I think they're closed on Mondays. They're open every other day, like 11 to 7. So if you would ever like to meet me there and we can coordinate a time, I would love to hang out with you. And it's a fun vibe. And if you like kind of like the 70s groovy-ish sort of music plus some 8 vibe and that's going in the background, and it's just a very fun vibe, and I really enjoyed my time there. I'm really surprised I took this because there's a lot of counting. To be honest with you, I did do just a little bit of words because I had made a mistake. I think my H or my A, one of them is not fat enough. I made it a little skinnier than it was supposed to be, and so I had the choice to make. Did I want to make everything off, or did I just want some extra space here? And I chose in the end, after the exclamation point, to do a little extra space, so everything else will be the same. But I'm really enjoying the stitch. It went a little bit slower because I was doing some counting and I was out among the world, so it probably wasn't the best choice, but that's okay. It was fun anyway. But it took me longer to tell the story than to show my stitch, but that's okay. I think the main part of it was that at any point, I would love to stitch with you if you want to hang out. And it's fun that she had said she would love to have people. That's her goal, is to have people come and just sit and hang out and vibe there. So let's do it. Alrighty, that is my stitching. And that's all I have for stitching this week. What are my plans? This weekend is something called the Riff Off, which is an event in Whip Warriors that's probably my absolute favorite. It is a takeoff on their Whip Frenzy. So basically the idea is they give you a theme word, and that you have to tie that for your very first project you're stitching into that theme word. and then stitch 1 to 200 stitches and then switch. And the idea is to like cycle through projects. And with the riff off, you have to connect project 1 to project 2, and then 2 to 3, 3 to 4, however you do it. You cannot repeat words. I think you might be able to repeat projects if you wanted to. I have enough that I don't, because I like to touch as many as possible. But if I picked bird for the connection, I can't use that later on. So that's the kind of rule on that sense. So it's always fun for me to pull out my stuff and try to connect them. I'm really trying now. I found that I'm starting to fall into, lighthouse and whale and some of the same connections, even if it's different projects. And I'm not saying you're not going to get that next weekend, but I am going to try to be a bit different in some of my connections. We'll see. I mean, the projects are the projects, so there's only so many things I suppose I can connect. So we'll see what happens. But that is my weekend kind of stitching plans. I don't know what my real life plans are. I don't think we have... Last weekend was busy, so I think this weekend we're kind of chilling. And then I have some possible starts, and I wanted to see if any of you were stitching them. I have been talking about this, and I'm leaving it out so I see it. Sampler of the C from Carriage House Samplings. This was supposed to be stitched last year or started last year, and I forgot. So I'm leaving it out because I really like it. So I'd like to stitch it. So that's out. I do have Toes in the Sand by Hands on Design. I thought one of these might be kind of cute. I could use the Dive In from Bestitchme actually on this. What do they use? Oh, a Barefoot Needleart and a Fabrics by Stephanie. As you can see, there's 2 different colors there. But I might be able to do that. I have a feeling this is going to end up next year, but I still do have this Seasonal Courier Blue Jay Summer. And again, I've mentioned this before. I would just stitch the Blue Jay in flower. And then I also had, I had bought this last year from Barefoot Needleart. Beachy Little Christmas. It's kind of an ornament sort of thing. And so that's an idea. So those are the possibilities. This is the most probably closest to a start. Now these are just hard copy starts. I don't know how to organize my digital. I was on a Zoom and we were kind of trying to talk about that this week because I was looking for something with the exact title to put it into Pattern Keeper. And I was flipping through saying, oh my gosh, I don't remember having that. And what I do is when I buy my digitals, I download them and I put them into Dropbox as well as saving them somewhere else. And so that way, and Dropbox is where I transfer them to Pattern Keeper or whatever, is where I do everything from. And, it's an off-site thing. So this way, hopefully it's all protected in the cloud, right? But I just kind of put them in there and then I kind of forget that they're there sometimes. So I need a way to figure out how to look at those because I know there's stuff in there that I would love to start or stitch or do. And I just forget it's there. So if you have any good tips on that, I would love to hear. The other 2 things, I was talking with Mary from Mary's Stitching Corner. Let me link down Mary. Mary and I stitch a lot of the same things, although we do some different. Her work's beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. And when she frames stuff, oh, it's beautiful what the frames finishes look like. But there's 2 pieces that we wanted to start together in September. And Mary is so good. She's like, I've got the fabric and the floss, and I'm thinking I don't have either. So I needed to start thinking about it. I don't know when in September we're starting them, but the first one from Pansy Patch is the Blackbird Sampler. And I was thinking, I wasn't sure what I wanted to stitch it in. I know it's called Blackbird, and it's stitched with Gloriana silk. And the DMC alternative is a mixture of 310 and 3799. But when you look really close, you get like blue tones, and I kind of like that blue. I would have liked something that was a bit more variegated, dark and light, which this might be. Do you know in the new pack of Threadworks, the 4-pack, there was this color? It's 1024. Does anybody know, can I buy just this? I know it was part of the pack, but was that just kind of a pack put together for that, set of designing that the designers did? Like, can I just buy this on its own? Because I would need probably more than a skein. I'm thinking of possibly doing it on that. I'm not sure what fabric yet. I'm always a last minute fabric picker. But if I can find the floss, especially because I would stitch, ironically, both of these are monochromatic because you know how much I love my monochromatics. Once I have the floss, then I go for the fabric. I probably would do something lighter. Maybe not this, but something lighter. Oh, you know what? Maybe Darling David from Those Missing Stitches. That would be really nice, I betcha. Especially if I could find one. If I have one that's maybe a little less pinky and more beigey. So there's that. And that's my possibility. So do you think I can buy some more of that? I know I could search, but if you know off the top of your head, that'd be great. Then this one, this is from Blueberry Ridge. So we're going with isn't that mother-daughter duo there? Blueberry Ridge and Pansy Patch. Sampler Holidays Halloween. And I was thinking purple. And I do have this hank of Black Cherry from Stitchy Stuff Co. I thought that might be fun. Now, it calls for 3 skeins of Weeks Dye Works. So this should be plenty, yeah? I think so. I would stitch the whole thing. Their alternative is $3,799, and I want something. I think I'm really digging kind of this purple. And again, I don't know what fabric. I don't think I would do something that's this two-toned. Maybe a gray, a really cool gray might be nice. So that's that. I don't know if you want to join Mary and I in either of these stitches. I can't wait. I don't remember what Mary said she was doing for fabric and floss. I'll have to find out. Mary, what are you doing? But those are starting in September at some point, and then who else knows what. But those my 2 definite. So I'm already starting to think ahead and maybe plan a tiny bit. All right, so that is my plans. Shopping. Okay, I have not bought anything pre-ordered from Marketplace. I've seen a couple things that I was intrigued by. I am kind of learning too that there are certain patterns that I think I don't want to buy as paper. I want to get them as digitals. And obviously this is a paper kind of event. And so I need to wait whatever it is, 6 to 8 weeks, whatever the designers have agreed on before I can get the digital, because there's some that I really want to put into Pattern Keeper. However, there were a few that were interested into me, so I may do a pre-order. My shop of choice, if you don't know where you'd like to, is Floss and Flame, and Jen is in Dover, Delaware, but she will ship anywhere, and she sells Floss and Flame means because she sells handmade candles as well as cross stitch. The cross stitch section she ships for free. I get why the candles she couldn't, but if you were to pre-order, it is free shipping on all cross stitch, no minimum order on that. So, and her service is top notch. So, I have been waiting because they keep adding more and more to the website. So I'm kind of waiting until I have seen just about everything, make a few notes, and then maybe place an order. I think that would be an excuse for me to go up there because I haven't been up there now for a couple months. Yeah. So have you pre-ordered anything? What's caught your eye? I would love to know because, you know, I love to be enabled and to see what you're getting. Alrighty. So my definitive shopping. To Die For Fabrics has reordered. You know how much I love Kimberly's fabrics. It's so funny because it was August 1st that she was opening. She actually made her Etsy shop go live on July 31st. Helen, darn you. You reached out because you were planning fabric for your autumn town and said she was open. And of course, then I had to go. Now I ordered this, the 31st. Within 3 or 4 days, Kimberly had it shipped. She is very fast and I love her fabrics. So I got 2 that I had already had. I did get multiple fabrics because I haven't bought from her in a while. So sit and relax for a minute. I did get some more Honeydew Melon. These are all 18 count. Ada. I'm a fan of Honeydew Melon. I like it quite a bit. In fact, my autumn town was done on this actually. I like it for kind of outdoorsy things sometimes. So that is Honeydew Melon. It might be a little bit brighter in person than what you're seeing. Almost limey. This would actually be really good too for Halloween, I think, especially if you had a monochromatic Halloween. I think that would be nice. Then I was so excited when Kimberly said she was bringing this back. This is ice blue. It's 18 count, but it's opal. The opal ice blue is so much fun for winter. Very fun. And then of course, I'm also doing it for my trees. I do like what I picked for Snow White. Snow White would have looked great on this, but I didn't have enough of it. But I've also done at least one Christmas ornament on this. And the opal is, it's not intrusive when you're stitching. It's kind of in the actual fibers, so you don't actually stitch through that part. And it's really pretty blue. Even if the blue ice alone without the opal. Look at how pretty that blue is. Oh, okay. Then I did, of course, because I am a blue fanatic, I did get a couple others. And I was just playing around. A lot of her colors are different than what they were name-wise. And of course, just different dyes are going to look different. Kimberly has also really embraced kind of like the 2-color dye, and a couple of these came from that section as well. I can't remember if this did. If you look in a certain light, it kind of looks it, but I'm not sure. This one is called Celestial Tide. Oh yeah, see, look at, you see that? And the modeling is very subtle. It's even more subtle than, like, that's not wild in my mind. You get even more subtle, but you can see it in person. Isn't that pretty? So that's Celestial Tide. Then we have a Blue Flame, which is, you know, blue with a little bit of like hints of white. It reminds me of that Dive In. What was I going to, oh, you know what? Where is it? Look at this right here. Wouldn't those look fantastic on this Blue Flame? Yep. I could totally see that. I could also see, oh no. I was gonna say I could see this one but I'd have to redo the floss for beachy, the word beachy. Otherwise, I think all those other colors would look really cool on this. So that's Blue Flame. We have, this is a multicolored one, you can tell, a multi-dye, Spellbound. So this one is different than your Celestial. It's kind of the same color schemes, but this one is deeper, a little bit darker. Oh, that's pretty. Oh boy. I don't do a lot of like a Fancy Lady Mermaid would look fantastic on that actually. These are all 18 by 21 that I get. No, 18 by 22. 21, 22, something like that. 18 by 22, the tag looks like. Oh yeah, the opal was the 18 by 21. But she also has a small size. I think it's like 11 by 18, which if you want to try some colors, that's a fun one. And then the very last one, I had to do a nod to fall. This is called Pumpkin Spice. Isn't this cool? I remember on her Facebook page, she did one that was kind of autumn leaves, which was beautiful too. But I thought this Pumpkin Spice was really, really pretty. So I picked this one up. And this again might be a multicolored, multi-dyed. I think it is. It looks like it. It's very cool, that section, when you look at her fabrics. I'm thinking, so I had to give up one of my fabric of the months. Now, Kimberly doesn't do a fabric of the month, but I am thinking I might create my own for each month. Her fabrics are very affordable, especially if you want the 11 by 18. So I could easily get 2 regular size fabrics for the price of the fabric of the month that I had to give up. So I think I might kind of dabble in something like that. Kimberly, let's have some fun and maybe do some fabric of the months. Not official. I'm not putting work on you. I'm just gonna maybe do that myself. So maybe we can think about kind of some fun things there. All right, that is it. That's what I bought. Fabric. Helen, I was gonna buy. So I'm teasing you, Helen. I would have bought it probably the next day anyway, but I had to run and go shop. She's on Etsy. She's linked down below in my favorite fabric section. All right, that's it. So if you don't care about life stuff, then thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you hanging out with me and chatting, and I will see you next time. We had a fantastic weekend this past weekend. The weather, it was iffy on Wednesday. It was not nice on Wednesday, but the rest of the weekend was beautiful. the hot temperatures didn't come back till Monday, but it was just beautiful, 80 degrees, sunny weather. There was we did our Sunday morning bowls and beach, and, the kids stayed longer at the beach, and we went out places to eat. We celebrated Meg's birthday. We had some family game sort of stuff. We did cornhole. It was just so much fun. So really, really great weekend. The weekend itself, I did get some stitching in because the kids would be out and about or doing some stuff or sleeping in, as the case may be. I think there was one night I was a little bit peopled out because we had spent all day, and sometimes I need to kind of decompress. So I did take an hour or so to myself or two and just basically say, I need to chill. But yeah, just had a really, really great weekend. This week now it's gotten hotter. It's warmer weather, so I've stayed in a bit more. Nothing super exciting going on this week, really, although I think we have friends coming over tonight, so that'll be fun. I have started a book, which I probably DNF'd, basically. I went through and I said, I just want to pick a cozy mystery. I was in the mood for a cozy mystery, and I went to there's the couple sites like To Die For, no, Stop You're Killing Me, for all mysteries. Then there's a cozy mystery one that is, and you can look by like place and all sorts of things. And I just picked one out of the hat. What I didn't pay attention to was 2012, and cozy mysteries back then, they drive me nuts because within the first 50 pages, whoever's going to die dies. The main character is convinced that the police say that it's her fault and this, that, and the other. And then she promptly breaks the law to try to solve it. And so her and some friends broke into a police impound lot and then rifled through the victim's car to find clues, because the police wouldn't be able to do that. The specialty teams that go through that wouldn't find what she'd find. And I just said, that's it. This is ridiculous. So I DNF'd that. That's going back to the library. But I will, I do have a book that I need to read for book club, and we're halfway through the month now. So I'm going to go put that on hold at the library, and it looks interesting. So I'll let you know when I get to it. So really no reading. I'm still listening to I think it's book 4 of that series. I can't remember the actual name of the series. It's the one I've talked about before. This book's been a little bit slower for me, listening wise, but I'm plugging along. And then I haven't watched much this week. Flosstube, I'm trying to catch up there. Finishing some episodes of different shows. Like I finished up the season of Father Brown, Art Detectives. I think I had an episode of each of those. I finished up the what's the one with Jane Seymour? Harry Wild. So nothing major there. I am going to do a rewatch of Gilded Age because the entire 3rd season has been dropped on HBO, and so, but I want to go back and watch them all. So I'm going to watch the first 2 seasons and then go watch. And then, okay, my friends, my European friends, it's time. I was so excited. I've been hearing about all of this, and today is the start of Premier League. So soccer is back, as we say in the States, soccer. Aston Villa play at 7:30 tomorrow morning, so you know what we'll be doing. I was trying to think, and I don't know, I'll have to think about your brains, what you think. I know that this fall there is a huge football challenge, American football challenge, where you pick a team and then you multiply the number of yards they get, I think, the number of points they get times 10, and you stitch on a project that week. I need something for my soccer because we watch soccer more than we watch American football. And not that I don't. I would pick Clemson as my team because that's where I went to grad school. But which I might still do. But I want something we're always watching soccer on the weekends. So I need something. They only score, I mean, sometimes it's crazy what they score, but it could be a 0-0 game. Ties are very often, or a 1-0 game. So I wouldn't get much unless it's times 100. So I need to figure out something else, kind of, if you can think of anything fun while watching those, to kind of do a sort of game for that. Of course, the soccer season, the football soccer season goes from now until May. So it's a little bit longer, but you know, that's okay. But yeah, so that's what we'll be watching. Go Villa. All right. And that's about it. I guess that's it. So, as usual, I always want to end this as to remind you, you matter. Apparently, my brain is scattered. You are important and you matter, my friends. So never forget that. You are just lovely the way you are, and I want you to know that, feel that, and just know that you're enough. Okay? Until next time, happy stitching.